And I'll post the tweeter.
The tweeter.
The tweeter. Bang.
Oh, dude, you've been copping a few views on the OGR YouTube.
On the what? Oh, have we?
Embracer Embracing's got 12 views.
Oh, sick. Dude, that's great. I mean, I haven't shared it. so
No, neither have I.
that's pretty cool. Embracer Embracing.
Oh, man, how's the topics, all the hashtags and shit? That's fucking cool, man. Oh, little Sunkist cat. Fuck, that looks delicious.
Little no sugar number.
Oof. Yum.
So good. So tasty.
Very nice.
Yeah, we live or freaking what, pal?
We freaking live or what? I haven't got the Twitch open, actually.
Oh, yeah. We are live. Cool. What else was going to do?
So we got to sort that out next week, eh, Capo? Get me fucking somehow doing it.
Yeah, we'll sort it. Should be right. G'day, Slados. There you go, mate.
Slados, how are you, brother?
I think that's everything. I think I might try and set up IFTT so when we go live, it goes. There's a post that goes out on all of our socials.
Good idea.
So I'm not manually doing it every week.
Freaking good idea, brother. Any automation we can get?
Automate. All right. Should we dive in?
Let's do it, dude.
All right. I'll do the old 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, followed by the intro.
Roger.
G'day and welcome to Oceanic Gaming Radio. This is episode 93. Wowee. It is the 13th of the 5th, 2024. My name's Captain Perth, and alongside me, my wonderful compadre, Grizzly Gaming 86. How you going, fella? You good?
G'day, Capo. I'm good, mate. We've already very briefly asked each other how we're going, and I'm feeling pretty... I don't know, mate. I reckon it's this time of year. You're kind of not quite halfway through the year yet, so you kind of know that. So you've got that big gap between Christmas and everything else, but just tired and busy, man.
Dude,
tired and busy.
Do you know what? I reckon I have a theory, right? When you're a parent, like public holidays mean fuck all. In fact, they're more of a hassle than just going to work. And there's all these fucking public holidays at the start of the year, and I've got to look after my son, and he's a maniac. So I'm just cooked all the fucking time. So if I have to do that on a public holiday, it's not a public holiday, you know?
I reckon I've got maybe less of an excuse than you, because most of mine is like, not my kids making me tired, but like my personal life, like playing too much music and staying up real fucking late. Stuff.
I just can't do that anymore. My body literally resists it. Like I tried to stay up past 10:30 the other night to watch something that was coming out as a premiere on YouTube, and I fell asleep with the phone on me.
Dude, we used to stay up super late playing games, man. Remember those streaming days? Holy shit, dude.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just life has changed dramatically. So, I mean, how long have we known each other for? It's been like, God, it must be 7 or 8 years now.
Well,
easy.
I think I've actually been on Twitch for 7 years now. And I would have met you maybe in the first 6 to 8 months of that, I reckon. So
yeah, man, it's been a while, Crocodile.
Right.
And it's been a while since our last podcast, mate. You know, it's two weeklies now, a little fortnightly number.
Well, I was actually thinking what I've done in between the meantime, and honestly, mate, I struggle to put down in words what I've actually done. Mother's Day, though. Happy Mother's Day to all those listeners out there. Shout out to my wife, who lets me have all these great hobbies and kind of pretty much do what I want, and she's an amazing mother too. So
same here.
Happy Mother's Day to you too, Cap.
What did you get up to, mate? Did you have much on the agenda? What was the go?
We went out to a cider house out somewhere in Perth Hills.
Core cider?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah,
good out.
Nice.
You been out there, Cap?
I haven't been out there, but I hear it's quite good.
Oh, it's excellent, mate. I actually, you know what? I think one of my weaknesses, mate, is mulled varieties of liquor. So I love a mulled wine.
Yeah,
I love like warm spirits, and they do a mulled like cider out there that has like different flavors and stuff in it.
Oh,
very nice, mate.
Okay, run me through it. Is it similar kind of flavors to a mulled wine?
It's the
thing,
same concept. So like it even had you know how they put the cinnamon stick and stuff in there?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can get different types. I think they had 2 different varieties on. One that was very citrus based, so they had a piece of lemon, and it was quite a sour mulled cider. But there was one that was kind of like, it's very similar to what you would have in like a mulled wine, like that star anise and the vanilla and other bits and pieces in there. But
sick.
I really enjoy drinking it like that. It's bloody delicious, mate.
So is it like a more, because, your ciders kind of, they tend to be either clear or scrumpy, I guess, which is like sedimenty. What kind of, what's your go-to?
Scrumpy, very dark, like a very hazy kind of cider used in that. Yeah, I wouldn't. You can actually get a shot of rum added to it as well, which would knock your socks off, mate. I didn't do that because it's like pretty brutal, but yeah, do enjoy that, mate. Yeah.
Sick. And
but,
so did you?
You know what I am excited for though, Cap? Coming into winter, mate. Had enough of fucking summer.
Yeah,
the weather's
I'm fucking over it too. It's just too hot. It's been too hot, and like, I don't know. It's been a nice little gradual kind of incline into winter with the weather, and I mean, I much prefer the cold weather. Got to be honest. I think that might be my Scottish and Irish ancestry starting to show through. But it's, I don't know. I just fare better. I'm a sweaty, disgusting mess. If in summer, so I much just prefer winter. And I don't know. Even just my wardrobe is a bit more,
wintry,
geared towards winter,
I'm kind of the same, dude, coming from Albany and down south and, cold a lot of the time. But the aesthetic I like, mate, is a wood fire, have the wood fire on, bit of smoke and just, chilling out in your warm clothes. And
big fan of that. But, mate, I'll wear shorts and a T-shirt in the middle of winter. I don't care. I love it. Yeah. I don't need much. Some days are cold, but like, for the most part, I don't need it. I just want to embrace it and indulge in the not sweatiness. So
not sweatiness. Now, Cap, how was your Mother's Day, mate? Do anything special? Obviously,
it was lovely.
What is his second Mother's Day?
This is
for Ted?
Ted's second trot around the block.
Second trot around the block. Yeah.
But yeah, Ted had a great time. He very thoughtfully purchased Mum a thing of flowers. He got her one of those digital photo frames that so he can, with his own personal mobile phone, he can upload photos to that. So it's pretty cool. And then what else did he get? Got her a massage voucher and some other bits and pieces. So.
Oh, mate, Ted did well, good. Mate. All over it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. So he was very thoughtful this year.
Did he make anything at daycare or anything, like any kind of
He did. And,
crafty?
Man, it was shit. It's really
what did he make? A piece of paper with some pictures on it or what?
It's funny because, like, it says, like, Happy Mother's Day in handwriting. And, obviously the first thing I say is, wow, his handwriting's really improved because, that's what you say as a dad. And, I mean, again, for those listening, he's 1.5 years old, so he can barely freaking hold a pencil, let alone write with one. But I think it just said Happy Mother's Day, and then you opened it up, and there was just a big splotch that he is painted, very lovingly crafted. So, but he does his best. He's a little legend. But yeah, Mia really loved that. So, but yeah, we had a really good day. We just kind of chilled out in the morning, caught up with some friends. And
you had a night out on the weekend, didn't you? You had a couple of. I saw some pictures of you on the seltzers, mate. Pop up in one of the
what was I doing?
groups.
I can't fucking remember. Last Thursday, the one that just went, caught up with some mates of mine, just some old school friends. So I caught up with them for a Thursday night beverage, which was, mate. We didn't get home till about 10:30, and again, that was just late enough for me. And so that was a big one. And then this week, we had some stuff on at work, and then I caught up with some people I know through work in the city. and that thankfully ended at 9 o'clock. So that was a much more reasonable time. But
nice.
yeah, I've a couple of bits and pieces floating around, but nothing crazy. I'm definitely still in bed generally around about my bedtime, so it's not too bad. But still,
get your 8 hours, mate. That's all you need.
Yeah. But yeah, not an awful lot's really been happening in my neck of the woods, in all honesty, Grizz.
Cap, I went and caught up with Pete and Pandy. When was that? Friday afternoon, and played some Magic cards, mate. Put out the Magic cards. Oh,
wicked!
Yeah,
love it. Did you go to Pete's place or your place?
No, I went across to Pandy's house because he's moved into Barry's house.
Oh, he's actually made the move across. Okay,
he has. Yeah.
Anyone that's listening is like, who the fuck are they talking about? Just guys? A couple of mates that we know.
Well, this is Cap and I's catch up time too, all right? You guys are just fucking second.
Yeah, you got to remember, this isn't just a podcast. This is also Blood and Grizz's only opportunity to catch up properly.
Exactly. But I did play Magic cards, all right? And look, love it. All the decks I have are all from the drafts that we've had over the years. I've got like 5 or 6 of them. They're all shit house, but it's always good fun, mate. Yeah, fun to play.
Well, that's the fun part of them being shit, right? Is that you know they're shit, and so when you make something work, you're like, oh yeah, let's go.
Here we go. Yeah,
it's good fun, mate. Yeah, I think I'm catching up with Pete on Saturday, Sunday.
Nice.
And I think I'm catching up with Moosey on Saturday. So a bit of a action-packed weekend coming up. Which, as long as we're in bed on time, all good. But yeah,
do that. Yeah.
Well, Grizz, should we fucking jump into it, mate?
Let's do it, mate.
We should. Let's do it. Rip. Well, firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone listening live in the twitch.tv/Oceanic Gaming Radio chat room. Legends such as Slatos Debiruman TV and Daddy Sin. Guys, thank you.
Just subbed for 5 months. Oh, my God.
5 month sub. And you could join him if you so wished. But yeah, big thank you to all you bloody legends. If you want to listen live, again, just that link is twitch.tv/Oceanic Gaming Radio. We're live every second Monday from 7 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. We're fortnightly now. Final reminder before I just it's the new norm, okay? So there you go. Now, if you want to listen to this in your own leisure, you can do so by going to OGRdotSHOW. You'll find links to all of our different podcasting platforms. And yeah, it's all there, baby. But as always, if you listen on a podcast, you have to review it, and it has to be 5 stars. Again, we don't make these rules up. They're coming down from the fucking upper echelons, the brass, handing these down. So anyways, there you go. So finally, big thank you to our wonderful Patreons. You guys freaking rock. They're the legends that keep on giving, the good Samaritans. Appreciate you big time. You can do the same by going to patreon.com/OGRshow. And you could also be dropping $5 in our little wallet every month if you so desired. Now, those legends are the following: I'm a Sukai, Moosey, Caging Runt, Lee G DJ, Lebs, Brendan, Strops, and Slatos.
Huge.
Cheers, legends. Appreciate
Bunch of champions. Yep.
Bunch of freaking champions. All right, Grizz. Now, bit of a quest log today. It's a chunky one, but it's a very good one. Yeah, in good one in some instances, and kind of fucked in others. Anyways, we'll dive straight in. Grizz, we've been speaking about it. There's been rumors. There's been freaking screenshots and freaking all kinds of shit coming out, and they've finally done it. They have addressed the elephant in the room, in like the most underwhelming way possible.
You know what's funny about this, Cap, before you say this? Yeah. They have announced the announcement.
Yes,
I know. Switch 2. They have announced the announcement of the Switch 2.
I don't even know why. And look, we'll get into it, right? But it didn't need to happen. It could have just left it, But anyway, so basically we got. Mate. Well, it did build the hype up, but they could have just let it keep simmering,
Yeah.
Anyways, look, the president of Nintendo last week put out an announcement on the 7th of May, so it's just under a week ago, saying, we will make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. It has been well over 9 years since we announced the existence of the Nintendo Switch back in March 2015. We will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024. But please be aware, there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch's successor during this presentation. it's such a real wet blanket.
Eh?
Oh man, it's a real shame. Like, we knew it was there. Come on, but
we did.
I don't know. It was just kind of like, sure, but also, like.
Actually, have not told you this yet, Cap. But there's a guy that works out on the asset I work on. He's an offshore HSC advisor, and in a previous life, he used to work as a developer, software developer for Nintendo.
Wow.
And
you got any links?
He worked on. This is like 10 years ago. He worked on the N64 and GameCube stuff.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah. He's got some of those physical big like in-store demo consoles that are inside the casings. He said that they were just like hanging around out the back and they weren't ever using them again. And he's just like, oh, well, grab those.
Take
those. Yeah.
Wait, so he lives in Australia?
Yeah, he's an Aussie guy. Yeah, he used to get flown over to the headquarters was somewhere weird. I can't remember who was telling me. Somewhere in Australia, there was like a Aussie headquarters.
Man,
Nintendo.
Wild.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I just assumed there was no Nintendo presence here apart from retail exclusively. Yeah. But
no, they worked on and I think when he started was when they were just finishing up with like the SNES, like all the PAL SNES stuff. But yeah,
dude, that's wild.
And
that is super wild.
In where he worked, they had the hotline. As in people calling up.
Get out of it.
The people that had those jobs, man. All they did was play video games and answer phone calls. Like, yeah.
Dude, that's my fucking dream job. I mean, that's a fucking video game streamer these days, right?
That's true.
The phone call doesn't end. Well, all right. So,
anyway,
look,
sorry to derail there, Cap.
No, that was a great derailment. Big fan of that one. Well, look, I mean, obviously, Grizz, it's here. You know, we knew it was coming. It was just the prior to this, there'd been plenty of rumors, but this was just kind of, I guess there's probably been every time we have a direct in recent times since Tears of the Kingdom came out, I think people have been really pining for this announcement, and I guess maybe that was what spurred, Nintendo to kind of put something out, just be like, look, by the way, there's not going to be. This isn't the place for this announcement, but it's coming soon. This fiscal year means, I think, based on how they've written it, it's basically a year from now within that
a financial year kind of thing, is it? Or okay, I see. A year from the okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like Japan's fiscal year is a little different to, like, most countries have their own fiscal year. And so if we go off Japan's, it's like roughly nowish till, the following year. So,
okay. Hey, while we're here, Cap, I thought we'd quickly discuss what we know about the Switch 2 so far. And then I had a bit of a query for you. Interesting one. So a couple of things, Cap. So they've announced that it has backwards compatibility, and this includes the ability to accept old carts from Switch 1. However, they have announced that Switch 2 carts can't go back in your Switch 1, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We know that it's a 1080p screen, slightly larger.
So before you keep going,
yes,
these are all rumors still, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I don't think there's any actual solid information.
These are all rumors. Yeah. This is what we kind of have heard. Pro Controller supported, Joy-Cons supported. However, you cannot physically connect your Joy-Cons to the console. Apparently, these are going to be magnetic, slightly different. They kind of like latch on to the side.
Yeah.
USB-C for docking. But I guess what I really wanted to get out of you here, Cap, and question is we've got a bunch of handhelds on the market right now. Heaps in the last couple of years. Steam Deck, Legion, the Asus ROG Ally, all fantastic bits of kit that are probably, if you're looking at what the rumors say about the Switch 2, are probably stronger than the Switch 2 now already in terms of their power and other bits and pieces. So when you look at what Nintendo does, Switch 1 was, 10 years, Cap, since announced? 2014, something like that. So we're going to have this Switch 2 for another 10 years, and we've already got handhelds that are exceeding it in terms of their fidelity and processing power and other bits and pieces. Are we going to have a similar story with the old Switch 2, mate, where they're
Yeah.
We've got developers that are trying to design games that are for older hardware and making those work, or what do you reckon?
I'm hoping that the jump is reasonable enough where we don't feel it for as long. But I know that's not going to be the case. I think, it's probably not going to be like the same power as some of the newer devices that have come out recently. And I mean, realistically, we really don't have any idea exactly what the specs are. I mean, there's even some stuff floating around suggesting that it will support 4K, which I just cannot fucking see happening.
Is it going to be 60 frames, dude? Do we even know that yet?
Well, I mean, that's the 60 frames is a difficult thing. I mean, because it's software dependent, it's not hardware dependent. I mean, it's both, but you can have a pixel game that runs at 60 FPS, and then you can have a 3D game that runs at 60 FPS. It just depends on the engine and a bunch of other shit. But I think realistically, they need to take this to the next step. But also, you got to remember the audience, right? Is like, again, we are hardcore gamers. People who listen to this podcast are probably hardcore adjacent. The majority of people who are going to play the Nintendo Switch will not give a fuck. They just want something that's cheap, plays the Nintendo games to put on for little Jimmy, and that's all they're going to give a shit about. So
I'll tell you what, Cap, Mario is going to look pretty good on a 1080p screen.
It is going to look real good.
If you're rocking a high frame rate on that too, it's going to look pretty nice for sure.
Well, that's the thing, I'm interested to go back and revisit some of the older games, and I think that's going to be one of the bigger things for the Nintendo Switch and one of the bigger allures is if it has backwards compatibility and it is enabling you to go and re-experience these games at a good frame rate. I can't wait for that.
Dude, I wonder if they'll do what PlayStation 5 did, which was almost like remaster some of those PS4 games to give it slightly more graphical fidelity when you bring it onto the PS5. I remember God of War, I think, did that, and a few others offered kind of like an upgrade to some
Look, there'd be a few
things.
target games that I think could really do with the extra power and maybe just like a dedicated
Breath of the Wild, Cat?
Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet could, they could really do with a bit of help. But yeah, it's look. Will it be? We have no idea, Chris. So all this shit is all rumors and stuff. But even the fact that it's only rumored that the new controllers are magnetized. So we don't know for sure. We assume it's not using a rail-based system.
How did we find out about that? Where do these rumors come from? That was
rumored as well. There was this thing, I can't remember what they call it. There's a specific kind of term for the type of magnetic thing, but it's like a button that turns the magnets on and then they basically click in and you can't pull them off. It's like a special magnet thing.
That is cool, man.
I can't remember what the word is for it, but pretty rad, if that's the case. But also, how the fuck do you have magnets that close to a hard drive and not completely fuck it? I have no idea. Someone's way smarter than me has figured all this shit out. But yeah, so look, ultimately, we know for a fact that, this is happening soon. It seems like, according to this, we'll probably find out about it before March 31st, 2025. Based on kind of the whole idea of having the thing within the fiscal year, sorry. And yeah, there's a bunch of shit floating around. It's really hard to pinpoint exactly what is and isn't kind of true. But there has been some extra stuff that came out as well, Grizz, where some of I think the president of Nintendo was kind of saying that they've worked hard to ensure that chip shortages won't affect the supply chain of this. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Have they changed the physical build of it, Cap? Is that what they've kind of done to make sure there's no?
I don't know how they're going to manage it ultimately, because the thing is, like, when you are talking about distributing a device on the scale that people like Nintendo, Apple, Samsung, all those people kind of, they deliver on that scale. There's only a few handful of chip creators that can actually supply that level of need. And so it makes you wonder what's changed. Firstly, are they looking at, and the thing is, right, if something's changed, generally the change is they've gone for something cheaper, or there's been new technology. And I'm going to say, in Nintendo's case, they probably go for something cheaper.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Look, in, 9 years or whatever since the Nintendo Switch 1 has released, of course there's going to be a skip in technology, and of course it's going to be buffed up. But I'm really interested to see what the price point here is, Grizz. That's what I really want to see.
They've done few little things to make the Switch better throughout its time period as well. Gave an OLED screen there at one point and upgraded the battery, I think, but maybe not physical specs. But yeah, price point, Cap. What do you reckon, mate? What is a reasonable price?
Well, I'm trying to remember what the initial one came out to, and I think it was about $500, wasn't it?
I think between $500 and $600
I reckon this is going to be about $700.
Yeah, okay.
$700 to $750, because I don't think they want to get too close to that $1,000 mark, because I think they're going to lose customers. Because again, think about your target audience, and so that's like why I get a little bit worried about this, because again, like I'm not the full audience. I'm probably going to buy it regardless, and I'd just rather there be a pro version or something that I could buy that would suit my needs. But I know they're not going to do that. But I think them playing the scales of price versus power, they're going to tip towards price realistically. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I feel like, Cap, as you approach, I mean, for me, Switch has probably marketed it a lot younger kids than, say, your PlayStation or an Xbox. And if you get close to that $1,000 mark, that's the same price as an Xbox and a PlayStation. So I don't know, you kind of maybe competing there a little bit more if you approach that price. So they're probably pretty clever in pricing it.
Yeah, I think
correctly.
they kind of, I mean, again, coming back to that whole idea of like who's playing it, I think they are kind of hitting the mark with, Nintendo games being marketed as maybe a little more PG than some of the experiences you can get on PlayStation and Xbox, so they kind of win out in that battle. But I still think they're going to be working really hard to meet the price point. Now, one thing that I also saw, Grizz, was that during the investor call that this has kind of been, swept up in amongst the actual announcement. Well, in quotation marks, announcement itself, the president of Nintendo also confirmed that the console will make use of the Nintendo account system. Which I think is going to be very interesting, because if that's the case, and I do want to know the extent of this, because I feel like we've hit a point in everyone's understanding of technology and connectiveness and expectations with carryovers of certain elements of systems and whatnot. We've had plenty of examples of like the PlayStation going from PS4 to PS5 and a lot of those games carrying over and experiences carrying over, downloads and paid stuff carrying over. Nintendo are about to tread into what I think for them is uncharted waters, because if that kind of carryover isn't there, I think people are going to get really pissed off.
I actually think it's an area, their probably weakest area, Cap, for Nintendo. The whole online integration for them, just, it's always been physical carts, I feel like. Whereas I know that Xbox and PlayStation, I've bought most of my PlayStation games digitally, but I own all of my Switch games as physical copies of those.
Yeah.
So, interesting to see.
Yeah.
But even implementing stuff in games, Cap, like they have done things with the Mario Maker games, and even what's that? Mario Kart as well has got a pretty good online, but no way near what we see their competitors as.
Not even close.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see how hard they go on all that. I'm sure that they probably got some stuff up their sleeve, but again, it's always the Nintendo kind of like almost feigning ignorance when well and truly they are very well adept at being able to build technology, and they should know way better. But I think a lot of it has been we can get away with it and we're going to, but I think they're going to need to really pull their fucking head in this time. So I really hope they do, because I don't want to go and rebuy half the shit that I've played and bought elsewhere. Especially if they're calling it the Nintendo Switch successor. It kind of implies that it's kind of still the same model. So it's not like you're going from like disc to cartridge and cartridge to whatever else.
Big time. Well, if you can put that, they're saying, well, this is rumored, but you can put your Switch 1 cartridges in your Switch 2. So you'd imagine that it's going to be pretty similar. By the way, can you hear squeaking? My dog's like chewing a dog toy directly
I thought that was a bird
underneath my feet.
It'll be interesting to see how the cartridge looks, Grizz, because I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where it's like a cartridge that has multiple grooves, so maybe the smaller cartridge can kind of fit in the center, and then you can have a bigger cartridge elsewhere.
That'd be cool. Well, because that's sort of my question to you. They tend to change how the cartridges work between generations, between consoles.
It could also be because I know in the last 10 or so years there's been some pretty big updates to. I mean, even you would have noticed it when you're doing your SD card research for the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
There's different types of preferences and stuff for the card and what technologies it uses. Yeah. So I wonder if it'll be a change in the speed. I mean, I don't think they've got any major issues with the read-write times or anything like that. But I'm sure that maybe the size, but even then, maybe not even the size. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they look like if they're the same.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll still taste like shit.
Yeah, maybe.
You remember that? Remember that whole thing?
What are you talking about? No.
When the Nintendo Switch first came out, everyone was licking the cartridges and they tasted like shit.
No.
Yeah. No, serious.
Why the fuck would you lick the cartridges, Cap?
Go and try one right now. I bet you it tastes like shit.
There you go. No, I haven't got one handy, mate. I haven't got one handy.
All right. Well, next time we'll bring you Grizz licking a Nintendo Switch.
What the little do you lick the little metal bits, mate, or is it the actual?
No, I think you just lick the plastic grey bit, and I actually haven't done it either. Next time we'll try it out. But yeah, I think it's just the plastic isn't good. Oh yeah, Pav in chat. Also, g'day Pav. We missed you.
Pav needs to come on and talk about his
all the shit he's been doing. Which I mean, he's at a different convention every week. If you follow Pav on Twitter and shit, I don't know what is it? Twitter.com/PavLoverface. Go and follow him. He's saying it was to stop kids from swallowing them, so that makes sense.
What?
They were coated in something.
Thing?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because they're small. They're like small little things. So I guess choking hazard. So whereas a disc is not quite the same choking hazard. But yeah, anyways, there you go. Nintendo Switch coming this fiscal year in a incredibly hyped up reveal. So
underwhelming.
Underwhelming big time. All right, Grizz. Now talk about underwhelming. Sony's approach to Helldivers 2 in the recent weeks. Holy shit. What a nightmare. And it's still ongoing. We kind of thought it was over, but let's just start from the top. Basically, all right, so it turns out that the entire time Helldivers has been out, there was a push from Sony to have PSN linking mandatory at some point in the life cycle of Helldivers. Now, Helldivers has obviously been incredibly popular, and I don't think they had the infrastructure ready to enable that linking at the time. And in the last couple of weeks, they decided that, okay, now's the time to make this stuff mandatory. Now, the issue with that was, people didn't want to do it on PC for obvious reasons. You shouldn't have to. Why should I have to link this account for a game I'm already playing? This is stupid. But on top of that, certain countries aren't allowed to have a PSN account.
Yeah.
And those countries are in the hundreds, like 120 countries or something.
121 countries, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of countries. And so in response to all this, Sony started delisting Helldivers on Steam for those certain countries. Now, obviously, in retaliation to this, the community backlashed massively. It led to all kinds of, negative reviews and stuff. And out of all this, we had the CEO of Arrowhead, which is the developer of Helldivers, say, look, we don't know what the fuck's going on. We've tried to communicate with Sony. We still haven't got the full story, so we're working on it. You guys just need to keep doing your thing, and we'll try and work this all out together. Anyways, in response to massive review bombing and negative critique, it seems that Sony apparently decided to change their stance on this and announce that they would no longer make it mandatory, which doesn't seem to have fully happened.
It's interesting, Cap. Do you think they fully understood the ramifications of making that decision? I think it's different to doing it out of the box, right? Like saying you need a PSN account to play this on release. So that's the expectation. But letting people sink hours and hours and hours and hours into a game and then potentially removing it from the Steam store and have it unplayable to you when you've bought it is something that doesn't sit quite right with me.
Yes. Now, I will say that Sony was offering full refunds to anyone in those affected countries, so technically they weren't out of pocket, but they were out of pocket time, and it was something that they put a lot of time in. And I mean,
what
realistically,
if it's your favorite game, you know?
That's the other thing, right? Like, you've put a lot of time into what could potentially be your favorite game. So it's just a really shitty kind of Sony, like, fucking buff head move, and just realistically, just very corporate-y. I think they saw an opportunity to get people into their kind of PlayStation Network ecosystem. And another thing that's happening at the moment, Grizz, is they're trying to get people on board because they've just released the trophy system for PC, like the PlayStation trophies within the PC ecosystem. Now, from what I understand, is those trophies are stored on your PSN account. So if you don't have a PSN, you can't engage in the kind of trophy side of things. So
there's already a trophy system in Steam, Cap. Surely they can just fucking use that.
You know, everyone's always trying to do their own shit. You got to think about like EA wants their own fucking, area launcher. It's kind of like having your own launcher, but they want you to have their own kind of thing. So it's not particularly good. Now, also in response to this, one pretty hilarious thing was there was like a infographic of the negative reviews, going downwards against the positive in the past, and some hilarious, community members created a negative review cape, which I'm going to post in the Twitter right now for everyone to see, and in the Twitch right now for everyone to see. And it's literally just these 3 red lines that are going downwards from left to right. Apparently it looks like the team at Arrowhead are looking to bring that cape into the game permanently as a bit of a funny kind of, I don't know, thing.
You know what, Cap? I actually like the way the Arrowhead CEO spoke about his community, because I think he was obviously kind of forced into this a little bit, and maybe
I think blindsided as well, realistically.
Yeah, so he's gone here. There's a couple of things that he said. He's gone, ouch, right in the review score. Well, I guess it's warranted. Sorry, everyone, for how this has transpired. And this was after 84,000 negative reviews popped up. Yeah. And then his latest tweet was saying, firstly, I'm impressed with the willpower of the community and your ability to collaborate. Secondly, I want to thank our partners and friends for quickly and effectively making the decisions to leave PSN linking optional. I just think the way that he engaged, it wasn't he wasn't trying to convince them to link their PSN accounts. I feel like he kind of was impressed that they could band together to have such an impact and drive the change.
I think it also speaks about maybe the level of communication there was between Arrowhead and Sony itself, because you got to remember, like, Sony acts as a publisher, so that means they have a lot of control over the distribution of these games, and also being so closely linked to the just financial structure of Arrowhead, because they're owned by Sony, I believe. It also means that they can make certain decisions and they have access to accounts, for example, probably the Steam developer profile through which the game is distributed. And they may very well have done this without an awful lot of consideration of what Arrowhead thought or the timing of it. And maybe it just kind of transpired. It's kind of has the vibe that maybe it was done knee-jerk and maybe without any real consultation between the two, which wouldn't surprise me. It
definitely sounds like the delisting from Steam has blindsided the devs. That's what I'm picking up here. Yeah. And that obviously continues to happen. That's not ideal.
And that's the thing. So as of 2 days ago, and I believe today as well, the game is still delisted in a lot of those countries. So, Sony Interactive Entertainment previously attempted to force Helldive's 2 players to do this thing, leading to a mass review bombing and Steam delistment in over 170 countries without PSN coverage. Yep. Now, according to this, it still looks like majority of those countries it's still delisted,
which is interesting, Cap, because they've announced you're no longer required to link your PSN account, but still it's delisted in these countries that don't have PSN. Why is that? Is there some kind of legal thing there?
So people were speculating that maybe Steam was kind of slow on the kind of reaction to fixing this up, but Steam has since come out and said that no, Sony, it's the ball's in Sony's court on this one. Like, it's their kind of job to sort this out, and they just haven't done it. And there's not really been sort of further information from Sony as to what's kind of holding that all up. And yeah, so Steam has certainly kind of taken their hat out of the ring on that one. But yeah, currently it's still restricted in all of those 170 countries.
A couple of reflections from me here, Capo, and topical given our chat last episode on this, but games preservation, mate, a very big hot topic right now, especially when we're talking about the change to digital goods. You know, realistically, when you think about it now, we don't own these games we're buying. We don't have physical copies, and you know, things like this happen. If we're in a country where PSN, say Australia, we wouldn't have access to the game we've bought. Maybe we get a refund or whatever else. But it's just that ongoing thing around, you know, you don't actually own the game. And we've got another story a little bit later around some closures of studios and what that means for those games as well. I feel like it's something that's all too frequently happening, Cap, that, you know, these essentially, you know, the move to digital goods and bits and pieces, there's definitely a bit of a change in I don't know, games preservation.
Oh, for sure.
Managing that.
And I mean, naturally, I mean, obviously it's a game as a service. So there's, you know, like just the way that they deliver it is, you know, prone to this kind of behavior from a corporate level. And you know, we don't have a physical copy of the game because it's all online, all that kind of bullshit. But Chris, the thing that weirds me out, right, and we're going to talk about it shortly, and, you know, AAA games are really fucking hurting at the moment, right? And even Sony's kind of announced that, you know, they've cut a bunch of jobs and they've cut a bunch of projects and stuff. And it's like, so hang on, you guys are losing money, but now you're going to delist your game that is making a lot of money from 170 countries that are making money. What the fuck are you thinking?
Dude,
like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's got to be a legal thing, right? That's the only thing that it can come down to. There has to be some... They wouldn't do it if they didn't have to, the way that I kind of see it. I feel like if PSN is not available in those countries, it's to do with whatever their law around media and stuff.
Well, absolutely. But I just feel like, you know, clearly you saw that you've got a good thing going, and like, you know, before this decision was made, you were happy for the game to kind of exist without the mandatory linking. But then you've decided, oh, we want the mandatory linking. I guess maybe they perhaps tried to figure out roughly how many players they were going to lose. And they decided it was worth losing them. But at the same time, gamers are very fickle, and when you do shit like this, they're going to notice. I don't know. Yeah, just seems like a really dumb.
They threw their arms up and down, didn't they?
Big time. So it's a very tone deaf action from Sony in a time where apparently there's economic turmoil that is causing them to need to do things like cut jobs, but then you kind of, you give with one hand but then you take with the other, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. The sentiment there isn't, I feel like it's all jumbled up. In my opinion, like, why not just leave them on the marketplace, leave it not mandatory, and, you know, just kind of let them persist because it's making you money. I'm really struggling to understand what's going on behind those closed doors, and I'm sure that there's probably some kind of marketing thing behind it because they want people to log in with their PSN accounts. They want people to make those accounts and log them in, all that kind of shit, because it's good for them in the end. But
just on that whole creating an account thing, that to me pisses me off already. So imagine if you were a Xbox fanboy, Cap, and you like this game, playing it on PC, and you don't like PlayStation, you don't have a PlayStation account, you've got to go and create a PlayStation account to play your favorite game on PC. Not only that, mate, but, you know, it annoys me. But I don't know if you've ever played Sims 4 on Steam, but you need to have an
Origin. I played the Sim City.
Was it? Yeah, okay. You need to have an Origin account, and that is fucking annoying. Oh, yeah. Man. You've got to like manage logins. Oi.
The bloody parrot's back in.
He's back. He's got like 5 of his toys down here on the floor, just
shut up,
squeaking them.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember what the fuck you were saying. I'm too busy getting hooked into the...
So I was talking about how annoying it is to have an account within an account to log into a fucking video game.
Oh,
Don't do
absolutely.
that. That shit's annoying, man.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, like
you got to make it optional, and I think people will appreciate that more so. You know what you should do instead of making things mandatory? Like, give people reason to actually have an account. So instead of forcing them to build an account, give them a reason to get one. You know, give it a really sick loyalty program. You know, like things like that. Incentivize people to do it. Don't fucking force them to do it.
Yeah,
it's the worst way to garner any kind of support from your fucking, you know, your player base. It's so dumb. But yeah, anyways, what do you fucking do? So there's that, Grizz. But looks like, you know, we'll keep an eye on this, obviously. The other thing is that it looks like these same issues are going to be plaguing the Ghost of Tsushima PC edition that is coming out, you know, in the next month or so.
That's requiring PSN linking out of the box, Capo, isn't it?
It is indeed. Now, I do think that there's probably a degree of they decided that, okay, Ghost of Tsushima is going to be non-mandatory, you know, with the PSN linking. And I guess maybe it was a knee-jerk thing to be like, oh, well, the issue is if they've got Ghost of Tsushima, you know, with a PSN account required, then, oh, what about Helldive? We're going to be kind of like a, you know, two kind of system kind of thing, which we want to just kind of consolidate and go for one. So I imagine that was probably part of the conversation internally for them. They decided, okay, well, let's just do mandatory and force it. Also, the other thing to think about is Ghost of Tsushima is a slightly different game because I think the trophies in that game would actually be part of the experience. So maybe that's kind of why they figured this was important. But the issue is, Grizz, guess what? Ghost of Tsushima is also going to be unavailable in another 170 countries because of this same issue. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I wonder whether they'll try to find a workaround for that in the meantime, Cap. I wonder if that's kind of what's happening. I can't stop thinking that the reason why they've done what they've done to Helldivers is because there is some legal clause that they're getting now pushed on to not have that game available if it's a PSN game.
Yeah. It's also surprising to me, Grizz, that you can have a Steam account in some of these countries, but you can't have a Sony account. So I don't know what's kind of going on in that area. What is that, like a compliance thing in those areas, or it's a Sony enforced thing, and they just don't deal with
some
those
shady shit on Steam, dude. Fuck, if you don't turn off your not safe for work recommendations, mate. God.
Dude, it is grim, isn't it? It's fucking bad,
wild.
Yeah, dude. Like, man, it's kind of annoying, actually. Like, I kind of wish I could just press a button and be like, okay, your Steam is now safe again. Like, you know, just fuck off with all that fucking hentai porn shit. But, you know, have fun. If that's your thing, go for it. But just give me a way to completely opt out of that for fucking without having to go too deep on the account options. But
Pav's favourite games, FYI. Loves those games.
I might have a little secret account. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. 180 countries, Grizz. I think we've said a different number every time we've said that. And every single one of these little
I said 122.
Yeah, 120, 170, 180.
The message is the same, right?
Up.
Message is the same. A lot of people are not going to be able to play these video games.
Exactly. So. It's not fucking looking good. It's pretty rough. So there you go. And speaking about rough, Grizz, this next story, pretty fucked. So we got news last week that Microsoft has decided to close Arcane Austin, the developers of Redfall. They've also decided to close Tango Gameworks. These are the guys that created the what I will call probably one of the better indie kind of, you know, well, not quite AAA, but like B grade, games in recent time.
Dude, Arcane Austin was Hi-Fi Rush. Prey as well, Cap, wasn't it? Arcane Austin
so we probably won't get another Prey, which sucks. But yeah, and basically, sleeper hit. Thanks, Airy J. That's the one I was looking for. They've also, what else have they done? Alpha Dog Games, maker of Mighty Doom, will also close. They'll also be absorbing Roundhouse Studios into the Elder Scrolls Online ZeniMax studios. But yeah, it's been pretty disastrous and a bit fucking rough.
One thing that surprised me, Cap, in researching this, I went on the Steam store and looked at these games, right? Looked at Redfall. Do you know how much that fucking game is on Steam?
Is it still the same price?
It's $120. Still.
Man, I suppose, no one's going to buy it anyway, so you may as well just, for the idiot that buys it, you may as well just charge them $120. You know what I mean? It makes sense in my opinion. Like when you're economic, like you think about it in supply and demand, right? If there's no demand, you may as well just inflate the cost and make it seem like it's worth $120, and some idiot might buy it.
Is it on Game Pass or not?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an Xbox property, mate. But yeah, so it's a bit of a shame. It sounds like Arcane. Austin kind of wanted to look towards another immersive sim as their next project. So this would have been potentially something in the ilk of Dishonored or maybe Prey. But yeah, they've had a pretty rough trot ever since Prey released. Prey is, and I have said this multiple times, Prey is one of the best sci-fi video games and sci-fi media ever created, and it was just completely forgotten about by the gamers. I can't believe it. It pisses me off on so many levels. Anyways, so they were kind of looking towards Prey 2, but they couldn't quite get people to bite on it.
They also had announced that they were working on a large DLC for Redfall, Cap, to try to kind of revive that a little bit. They even had a roadmap spelt out for it around what they were planning to do. And I don't know if you knew this, maybe you did. Actually, you might have linked it, but they had, for the pre-orders, there's still like a bunch of heroes that were yet to be released, announced.
And presumably will never come back.
That people had paid for. It was like $100 to pre-order the game, and with the hope that you'd get a bunch of content for
and I'll be honest with you, I don't think you're fucking getting it. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Xbox has said all development on Redfall has been abandoned indefinitely. Yeah, right. So that's it. Vamos. I mean, that's really unfortunate that all the development there is ceasing, and it just feels like shit, Grizz. You know, like also Hi-Fi Rush, you know, highly critically acclaimed. Like it feels as if that game, you know, shadow dropped out of nowhere, and you know took a lot of people by, you know, completely, you know, out of left center kind of thing.
Won a bunch of awards, Cap, too, didn't it? Like,
it won a bunch of awards. It's really bizarre. I think this is one of the more bizarre ones, Grizz, and you know, I kind of look at this, and I mean, there's a bit of speculation floating around, but I think the thing that makes the most sense is, okay, firstly, Xbox is in a lot of pain. I think they've just bought Activision Blizzard King, and I think realistically, we spoke about it, you know, a fortnight ago. I think they're probably looking at that purchase and going, "Fuck, what the fuck have we bought? We bought this fucking Garbo fucking developer that everyone thought was really good, but they're actually really shit now, and that cost them a lot of money. And now they're going, fuck, we need to try and you know cut some fat elsewhere."
It seems weird though, Cap, because I can't imagine the developer behind. What are they called? Arcane Austin. No, the other one. Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks. I can't imagine that they're a huge dev team, right? Like,
well, I'm not too sure exactly how big they are, but I mean, there's got to be at least probably 50 odd people plus some in that kind of area. But I think what honestly happened, Grizz, is like they bought all these studios, they bought Bethesda, yada yada yada, and then Tango Gameworks were working on this game whilst you know, during the handover or the purchase. And I guess Xbox were like, oh, shit, okay, I guess we'll just let you release that. And then I guess what happened next was because they didn't have another project in the works, you know, they're probably still coming off this high with the Hi-Fi Rush. And they've just gone, well, you don't have another project that's going to be out the next 4 years or something. See you later. And I think that's probably what happened.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to jump ahead in the stories here, Cap, but there's a tweet here. Someone asked, what exactly determines success for an Xbox game these days? And then there was a response from Aaron Greenberg, who I think is, what is he, Cap? Is he
Aaron Greenberg?
He's like an Xbox.
VP Xbox Games Marketing. Yeah.
And it's so funny because he's gone, Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us. Our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Games delivered with this surprise release.
Yeah.
April 21, 2023.
But what's the only metric that they're not mentioning here, Grizz?
Yeah.
Risk.
Find it. Okay.
Risk. They can't accurately measure the public sentiment for the next project that this developer will put out. And so they're just going to get rid of it. They're going to minimize their risk. They're going to put all their money into IPs that are, held by developers that realistically people will just eat shit off a plate that they put on. That's what the AAA games market is moving into. It's moving into reproducibility as much as possible and maximizing on microtransactions and, prolonged service because it's easy for them.
How much money did Hi-Fi Rush? Why don't they just get them to go make Hi-Fi Rush 2, mate, or something similar?
I just think they didn't think that it was going to do well enough. I mean, there's been plenty of examples. I mean, Square Enix has just spoken about how the second installment of Final Fantasy VII Remake has performed pretty poorly. That was a game that people just assumed would make money. It didn't. Like, this is the problem we've got, is when they're not making the money that they want to make.
Dude, AAAs are definitely not guaranteed to do well these days, are they? It's actually
they're really not.
Risky.
Like, it's pretty fucking risky. And so that's what I mean. They're trying to consolidate their risk. And so having all these little projects going off left, right, and center is too much risk for them. And so, unfortunately, I think these guys were just a casualty of, well, you know what? We can't really be sure that you're going to sell well the next one. It's probably just going to be the same game. So you're gone.
These are the kind of things that go and promote great indie studios, Cap, when a few of these guys get together and say, hey.
And they should keep doing it. And indie studios should not get bought by big fuckwits like this.
No, agreed.
They should keep doing their own thing. I know there's safety in there, but there's also not safety in there. Look what's just happened. We've had a lot of big change, and I think the other one at the moment, Grizz, is, everyone looked towards Xbox Game Pass as this, salvation, and I mean, people are still getting a pretty good deal. I'm getting a pretty good deal out of it, but, for the most part, like, indies aren't being looked after over there. Indies are not being looked after at Microsoft, and it's very clear now that things are not looking that fucking flash. All whilst this is happening, Grizz, you've got examples of CEOs taking massive fucking pay packets home. I think the payout that Bobby Kotick received once he was kicked out of fucking Activision Blizzard King, what was it? His salary, I've got it written here somewhere. Give me 2 seconds, I'll fucking find it. But it was out of control. Here we go. Bobby Kotick's payment as he leaves fucking AKB would have paid the salaries of Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin employees for 17 years.
Yeah, right.
What is that? Like, this is what I don't understand. Just fucking sort your upper management out. It's just insane. The amount of money that's being bled up there, but they're completely self-serving. It's disgusting. They're like a fucking, ring of vultures circling these poor devs below them, trying to put out the best product they possibly can. But then they've got all these hurdles in place, like, fucking KPIs, and trying to like put as much fucking microtransactions and other bullshit into your games. It's just terrible.
I think that's
what's wrong with it.
Why Redfall was such a hollow experience, Cap. I felt like more time was spent on the things that didn't really make a good video game in that release.
Well, I think the big thing with Redfall, and I will say what I understand happened at Redfall, was that Xbox apparently was like, okay, just build your game and we're not going to be involved with it at all. Obviously, that didn't work out particularly well for them. But at the same time, I think there was a lot of issues that happened with just the general development at Redfall in terms of how the cards kind of fell for them and what happened during the changeover between Bethesda and Microsoft being sole management. It's definitely not like a, this is why Redfall's shit kind of moment. I think Redfall's shit because it just was shit. It's another example of just AAA games project management falling to pieces. And they just couldn't quite get it right. But ultimately, Grizz, I think, I don't know, the more I look at this, Grizz, we had Sarah Bond, who's the president of Xbox or whatever, come out and just said some completely insanely, again, tone deaf thing about this whole kind of process. And, it's rough. Well, they didn't even say that. They were just like, they just didn't quite meet what we needed and yada, yada, yada. But it's like, well, what are you expecting from these developers? And there's just no transparency there, I think. And in the last kind of 5 years, people, and I mean, even myself, have kind of been praising Xbox for being a little bit more, I guess, gamer focused. But realistically, you look at this and you kind of think, well, you're not really.
Didn't they come out a day after this was announced, Cap, and say that they needed more games like Hi-Fi Rush
exactly. Yeah, and I think that was Sarah Bond who said that as well. And it's like, well, you could have them. You just don't fire
there.
Yeah,
look,
literally.
It's a really tough time, Cap, and the numbers say it all. There's another article you've linked here that around the revenue for Xbox decreasing by 30%. And that's this year. Last year, they actually had quite a strong year, apparently 2023. So things are moving a little bit. And I guess my reflection, I don't know, this is my small little pigeonholed life here in Australia and gaming and Xbox is a global thing. But right now, the cost of living here is fucked, Cap. It's tough. We've got very high interest rates, people with a mortgage and even rentals and everything else. And look, it does not surprise me that console sales are down and sales in general are down and tech markets struggling because people just
there's less money,
disposable income, mate.
There's less money circulating. Yeah, big time, and it's just hard. The amount of time and effort and resources required for things has not dropped, but the amount of available resources to allocate to that, whether it be in purchase or in support, that has dropped. You know what I mean? So we're still expecting the same output. And we're fucking picky these days, man, especially when it comes to media. I mean, I know I am. I'm not going to watch TV if it's shit. Like, back in the day, I'd probably watch just about anything that was put on TV. These days, it better be like fucking the Lord of the Rings level fucking media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the same with our video games too. Maybe this is just getting old, but we won't play shit games anymore. And this is Brotato. Brotato was one good shit game. That's a great game. Yeah.
Good shit, game. But yeah, look, just to go back on your comments, we're seeing 30% down in games, in game machine sales for Xbox. Console sales are just under 25. PS5 sales are just down, just over 25% down. Switch sales are down 38%. I will say we're kind of getting towards the pointy end of the console generation. So the people who have bought the consoles are kind of probably already bought the consoles. And I guess that's why people are trying to squeeze a little bit out of the market again, with maybe seeing a PlayStation 5 Pro coming out soon. But look, ultimately, Grizz, this just fucking sucks, and we're not going to. This isn't over. Like, Xbox has said that they're planning more cuts after these closures. So I think we're going to continue to see this to happen. I mean, well, clearly we are.
What about our beloved video games, Cap? We're going to see a hit in quality of video games, mate. We're seeing all these studios and fucking other bits and pieces.
Look, I think it's going to be interesting. I honestly think we'll probably see a couple of things. I think we'll see, there's going to be less games made because there won't be as much capital available. But I think we'll see probably more indie games, less AAA games made, but we'll see more indie games get made. Which I think is going to really throw. I mean, obviously, the fact that we have indie games is a big deviation from back in the days of going to the Blockbuster and pulling a SNES cartridge off the shelf. So people can create video games in their basement and off they go. But like Gary J is saying in chat, the current pattern is not working. It's really not. A lot of that is because AAA studios have just bloated to beyond recognition.
A little bit of a gaming revolution, Cap, maybe, is on the cards, mate.
Well, I think it's just going to be a financial revolution. Over time, people are going to be... I mean, I have found myself not buying a lot of AAA games at the moment because I honestly think they're garbage. And I've been pretty picky with what I've picked up. So I think that'll continue, and these bigger developers will just kind of suffer a little bit. And realistically, Grizz, it's a necessary evil to get to the other end of this, where maybe the market stabilizes a little bit. We kind of understand a little bit behind what needs to happen and what players are willing to kind of, purchase and buy.
Looking back at how Embracer did it, Cap, or what they're doing, I think that is, I mean, obviously everyone's doing that now, but you see refocusing, slimming down of resources, and they've kind of got their three buckets of what they're delivering on. There still is indie studios in those buckets, but I feel like that's obviously what we're going to see across the board, continue to see until, I don't know, they start making money again and having it more surety.
I think it's like anything, Grizz. You buy stocks, you're going to probably diversify your stock portfolio. You're going to buy some big dogs, and you're probably going to buy a few medium dogs as well, right? So, it's a similar approach, I guess, in terms of this is you're going to buy some AAA developers, you're going to buy a few little indie developers that have done pretty good, and they're going to hopefully continue to put some reasonable projects out. Maybe a little bit more risky, but at least they've shown that they can do it, right? So, it's just, I don't know, man. It's who knows what happens. Either way, Grizz, I just think Xbox really seem to have lost control big time. I really don't know what their play is. I don't know who they're trying to get, where they're trying to get, and it's really difficult to understand what these changes, what key KPIs are they trying to meet? Like, what does a developer need to do? Like, if I was a developer,
sounds like it's just managing debt cap, I think is what it's coming down to for now.
I think so too. They're kind of trying to put their eggs in a basket, but I still think if I was a dev under the Xbox banner at the moment, I'd be pretty fucking worried. Yeah, unfortunate. But I mean, I don't know what sorts this out, Grizz, but I do think that unfortunately there needs to be more AAA casualties. But the unfortunate side of that, Grizz, is we're still going to see the Bobby Kotick's getting big fucking bonuses because they've, slimmed down. Like, they get paid either way. They get paid in the good times and they get paid in the bad times because they've just cut all these fucking jobs. It's just, CEOs are fucking scum, honest to God. Like, they are utter scum. And that echelon is just, it just takes away from the work that actually happens on the ground to get products up and get them moving. Look, that's not all CEOs. There are probably some good ones out there. I don't know any, but regardless, it's shit. And hopefully, some more casualties kind of sort of teach those guys a lesson. But I doubt it.
Yeah, they'll get into indie games, mate, and create these beautiful, successful video games and show them what for.
Yeah. But yeah.
So at the moment, it's a bit of a whinge story from the old AAAs saying, fuck, it's so much risk.
It's so hard.
It's hard.
Crying into their fucking pool of money. It's such a fucking Scrooge McDuck moment, right? And it's just like, things are really tough at the moment, guys. Anyway, I was just going to take a quick swim in my fucking, pool filled with billions of dollars. It's just ridiculous. So pathetic. Anyways, Grizz.
Yes.
Speaking of Microsoft, tell me about Diablo 4.
All right, Cap. So Diablo 4, there have been some rumblings for a little while that there were going to be some quite large dramatic changes happening in the Diablo 4 camp. Since then, we've had some announcements. On April 30th, Blizzard announced its next season, Season 4. And the name of the season, Cap, clearly defines that they are undergoing some major changes. So Season 4 is titled Loot Reborn. And the quote goes, "The forges burn with renewed vigor, stoked by braziers to hone the steel of Sanctuary's finest. Across the land, hells expand, legions gather to multiply. Their strength to ambush wanderers that pray to the Helltide." But look, Loot Reborn as a whole, Cap, essentially they're overhauling many of the game mechanics to give pretty much a new experience for Diablo, or what they see as a new experience, and really focusing on, rather than providing physical updated content for the season, providing changes to the way the game plays and functions to give a better overall game. So I guess I just wanted to take you through what the key features were. We're going to have a bit of a chat about them.
Yeah, drop it on me.
And go through it. So some of the mechanics that we're seeing here. So essentially they've overhauled how items are earned in the game, how they function, and also how you can empower them through crafting and other ways. So for the items, they now drop with a heavily reduced number of affixes on them. So a general complaint from Diablo 4 players was that it was really hard to identify whether an actual item was an upgrade for your build or not, because it had so many different little bits of information on it. Like, you get like 6 or 7 different affixes on an item. So actually
need to be a bit of a mathematician.
Yeah, figuring out whether that's good for you or not is difficult. So they've simplified it a lot. So legendaries drop with 3 fixed affixes on them, and rares drop with only 2 fixed affixes on them. So you can basically look at that straight away and identify whether that provides you a power boost or not. Yeah. So much easier to evaluate. They've also nerfed the drop rates significantly. So there was complaints that basically you'd go out, fill up your inventory full of items, go back and salvage it. And it was also really hard to identify whether the items you had picked up were actually good for you because of how complex they were. So the item drop rates themselves have been heavily reduced, and the items that do drop are generally more meaningful and allow you to evaluate them quicker to figure out whether you want to pick them up or not. Obviously, to coincide with this, the way that the crafting system has had to be reworked because you're getting less materials and other things. So I'll go into that in a little bit, but they've kind of reworked the whole crafting mechanic.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of quality of life stuff, Cap. So when you played, mate, you would have had these legendary aspects that you would have to have. Basically, when you extract a legendary or break it down, you would keep that affix and you would have it in your inventory as like a...
Yep.
And you could apply it to other items. So they actually have a physical codex for that now, so that you no longer have to have inventory space to hold those anymore, or stash space. They go into a physical book that you can filter and search, and you can favorite your favorite ones. They still have different levels. The codexes of power, they still have different levels depending on the roles for those. But yeah, they're going to give them to you in a book, which I think is great. That was always something that pissed me off, Cap, was inventory management was pretty annoying.
There was a lot of it, and it was like, okay, I'm doing this at every stage of the game for every part of the system. Like, it's just, it's a pain.
Yeah. So there is some good quality of life stuff here. So there's that, and I believe there's other tabs and stuff they've for inventory management to reduce that. But a bit on the crafting, Caps, there's two different types of crafting now. And essentially, because you have less affixes on your items, they've kind of introduced this way to be able to, change the item in a way that you want to for your build. So they've got two different things, one called tempering and another thing called masterworking. So the way that tempering kind of works is you'll find manuals that drop around Sanctuary. These manuals will give you a list of affixes for those manuals, and you just need to take those to a blacksmith to learn those affixes. So you actually can't start tempering your gear until you've found the blacksmithing manuals around by farming enemies and other bits and pieces. Okay. So the idea is that once you've got the affix that you need, whether it's like, say, for example, crit chance or something you're trying to get crit chance, you can literally go to a vendor and you can temper that onto your weapon.
Right.
It'll start out at a very low quality, so you might put crit chance on it. I'm just theory crafting here. It might give you like 3% crit chance or something. And the idea is that the second tier of crafting is called masterworking, where you then upgrade those affixes that you've applied to your items to make them stronger. So this is kind of where the late game kind of comes in. So to start masterworking the affixes you've applied, you need to get late game mats. So they're in specific dungeons that I'll talk about in a little bit, some of the late game stuff. And that allows you to empower the affixes that you've applied here. So you can kind of see this theme here, Cap. The items are going to be simplified when they drop.
Yeah.
You can customize what 3 affixes you put on that item, any of them, as long as you have found the blacksmithing manuals for them. So essentially, you're no longer relying on RNG to get the item and the stuff on your item. You can create it as you want it. So you want crit chance, crit damage, and a skill. You can put those on there as long as you've got the manuals. The manuals aren't used when you use them. You can use them as many times as you want. You just have to have learnt it to do that. Yeah. So where the power spike kind of comes in is masterworking slightly RNG dependent. So it'll allow you to empower, when you use the masterwork, it'll empower all the affixes on an item. Then every 4th time you masterwork it, it'll pick one affix out of the ones you've applied and give you like a significant increase to it. So that's where the RNG piece comes in.
And you keep doing that until you get the one you want.
Yeah, well, you have to reset it. So once you've done it the 4th time, that's it. You can't do it again on that item. You've got to reset it and try again to try to get the right one.
Right, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you're kind of working up in stages to that point, and then if you didn't quite get it, you start again.
You're going to have mats that do that, so obviously that's going to limit the amount of times you can do that. And they also have introduced this thing where they've got tempering durability. So your items, even the best items, will only be able to be tempered a certain amount of times before they don't let you do it again. So it's kind of like it's interesting because you're no longer concerned about that really rare drop piece of equipment. It's more about managing your crafting and your crafting materials to get the items you need for your build. So it's actually almost, in my mind, it's almost turned what I found rewarding in the gameplay loop for Diablo on its head, because it's not that dopamine hit from finding an amazing item. I mean, that's still important because there is still like unique drops and stuff, but it's definitely create your own, a little bit more create your own items.
Yeah, which I'm kind of in two minds about it because I don't know, Grizz. Like, do you think this is what Diablo 4 needs? What does it need? Like, is this it?
I've got some thoughts on it. I might save them till the end as a more holistic. But no, I don't think this is what Diablo needs, Cap. I think this is a step in the wrong direction. But I don't think it's the first time Blizzard have done this, and I think they're trying to simplify the game to allow it easier for more players. Is kind of what I think. But we'll see.
And the game's just come out on Game Pass. Which would make a bit of sense, right? Maybe it's good timing for that with an influx of more casual players or people who aren't pining for a action RPG. Kind of mobilifies it a little bit, doesn't it?
Does a little bit. Look, that's the crafting items. So this is the season of loot. So they've overhauled that completely. There are some things gameplay-wise, Cap. They've reworked the way Helldives work, but essentially, I don't want to go into that too much because it's pretty much the same. There's areas marked on your map. There's quests there. You go there. One thing they have added in the Helldives, though, is that, and I think they did this for WoW, Cap. Maybe you can confirm this, but essentially you get a stacking debuff on you. You are like marked, and as it stacks on you, the enemies deal more damage. More enemies come. Bosses come out, and it's kind of like a what is it called? A threat. You have a threat on you. Did WoW do something similar like that? If you stayed in an area for too long?
I think there might have been something in Battle for Azeroth or the one after that. What was that one called? Can't think. No, that was Battle for Azeroth. Yeah, I think maybe there might have been something like to do with that in the wider open world, but I don't think it was that much against the player. Like I think there was, there were still threat levels and stuff like that, but not that hardcore.
Yeah, it comes to the point of like if you're there for too long, then like this crazy, what did they call it? They say some fucking undead dude comes and slams you, formidable warrior. Some guy comes and gives you the clamps. So yeah, interesting.
That's pretty cool though. I like that.
So it's kind of like timed anyway. But they have finally, Cap, after many people whinging about this, have included an end game. So there is now an end game. There was kind of an end game, but this is an official one now called the Pit of Artificers, I think it's called. And essentially, I think these work like rifts from D3. So you need to do the Pit of Artificers to find the masterworking items to allow you to masterwork your weapons. And essentially, these are dungeons that are randomized. They're not available until World Tier 4, and they have scaling levels that you play through these. So it starts at 1. I believe the max is 200, and that's nearly impossible it's like very difficult apparently. So
right.
It's kind of like obviously as it scales in difficulty, there's drop chances of stuff increased and rarity and other bits and pieces. So I think this is something the games need for a while, bit of direction in the end game, Cap. So now this is two things they've tried to address through this, which is the itemization and a bit of an end game. They have included a new boss, Cap, which can pop up.
A new boss?
A throwback to Diablo 2, I think, Andariel. Do you remember the first?
Yeah. Andariel. Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah.
She was the one that had her tits out. And when you were a little young and you'd be looking at those pixels being like, oh, Jesus.
Well. We got it.
So you can collect a bunch of items to summon her. She's like an Uber boss or something in the game.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it on the gameplay, Cap. So obviously alongside this, they've got their seasonal journey, which comes with a free and paid premium battle pass and other bits and pieces that come with cosmetics and other things in there. Look, I looked at them, mate, and nothing really too out of the normal there for me. I could probably don't buy it, but yeah,
the usual garbage.
The usual, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, that's it, mate. I think they've actually really tried to listen to their players this time and give us what we're asking for.
Yeah.
But whether or not they have done a good job at providing for me, I would say no. What's your take on it, Cap? What do you think, mate? What are your thoughts before I dive in?
Look, I think there was definitely a general kind of outcry for maybe not this kind of specific approach, but definitely some degree of simplification and consolidation of, I guess, the some of the systems they had, because they were just cumbersome and there was a lot going on. It was just too much, and they didn't meld together nicely. So I think they are kind of listening there, but I don't know. Like
the power rewards also, I always felt like when I got to the end game, even though I only got there once, but I would find my creep in power was so slow, like 0.1% of a damage increase when I'd find a new item. And it was really hard to get that wow feeling and make me enjoy the game from continually progressing. It just didn't have that built into the game. So I don't know whether this patch is going to fix some of that with the way that the crafting kind of works, but maybe it will help with some of that. But yeah, I think having an dedicated end game definitely helps a little bit.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you're right, mate. Like a dedicated end game is really important. I mean, there's also got to be a nice balance between, I kind of feel like the difficulty spikes were not like that you got across the game weren't super meaningful, even when you're leveling and stuff. I mean, they did make some changes where I can't remember how they described the character that's in that perpetual realm, but I believe you can now just play them every season now, right? Without much repercussion.
So that's one thing, Cap. There's a seasonal and there's an eternal realm here. So they're actually pushing all these changes to the eternal realm, which usually for the seasons it only impacts the seasonal realm. But this whole itemization change is a literal game change across all realms that's going to happen. So,
and then I assume after this they'll kind of still have the continuous seasonal changes in the seasonal realm. But
yeah, that's right. They've kind of used this. I think they're kind of using this as we're trying to fix our game, good faith, listen to the community and fix it. Which
look, I think it's a sign and a step in the right direction. I don't think it's the entire direction. I think there's still some big end game issues that they've got, and I also just think the game's kind of fucking boring. So I don't know how you fix that, but I mean, what's your thoughts, Grizz?
So look, I think there's good and bad in here. I think the good is we've got an end game. They've implemented some quality of life stuff like the Codex of Powers being an actual codex and some other inventory management bits and pieces. I think the itemization, for lack of a better word, I think they blizzified it a little bit. And I cannot help but think about what they did to WoW Retail, which, they went from every character basically being able to do everything in current patch, heal, DPS, tank, doesn't matter who you are, you can kind of spec yourself to do that. And essentially the way that I read these changes to the items is that you can find any item on the ground, as long as it's got 3 decent rolls on it. You can take it to the vendor and you can put whatever it is you want on that item to make it fit your build.
Yeah.
And to me, the core mechanic of a Diablo game was finding that item that provided for your build on the ground. It's like, yes, wicked. I found an item that's got like 5%. And don't get me wrong, I know you can re-roll items in Diablo games. Diablo 3 had a re-roll item, but it's literally like you get to re-roll 1 affix per item. This is adding 3 affixes. You're basically building your weapon from scratch.
Yeah.
So it's actually changed, to me, it's actually changed the genre a little bit, and it changes the way the dopamine hit is going to kind of hit you. It's going to hit you when you're crafting your items, and you might get that perfect masterwork affix that rolls extra high. So I don't know, man. I kind of feel like, this is going to be way more approachable because people are going to be able to see the items that are dropping on the floor and be like, oh, yeah, that one's better. So I can pick that up. And it's going to be a lot easier to identify that and see that. But Yeah, I think in terms of pulling me back in, Cap, it's not doing it for me, mate.
No, I think I really need like a really good. I even think about Diablo 3, and I just feel like the general kind of story campaign progression was just a little bit neater and just well put together. But Grizz, this whole kind of change reminds me a lot of just generally what's happened to Destiny, and just the way that your weapons are kind of just plug and play, and that's fine. It works for for Destiny, but Destiny started out very similarly with a lot of grinding required, and I think Diablo's kind of missed that. The reason being is that people have played all the other Diablo games to this point, and so they kind of come in with a certain level of expectation. So they haven't had that I guess, inherent ability to just kind of be a bit grindy for a little bit and maybe just push the game in other areas to be better at. So they've kind of gone harder in here because they just assume that that's the big sticking point for most of their players, because that's what they're maybe getting elsewhere. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I tend to agree, mate. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know, Diablo 4 is such a weird thing to me because it was there and then it just kind of disappeared. People
it just
kind of
fizzled, didn't it? It really fizzled.
It did, yeah.
Yeah,
it did fizzle. I don't know, Cap. Like what realistically would bring us back in, mate? And like you mentioned, I think I would be more likely to go play a D3 season than what I would for D4 right now. For some reason.
I don't know what I can't. It's really hard. I don't quite know what. It just feels the game feels a bit mobile to me. I don't know why I get that feeling, but like when I play it, I kind of get the feeling of like this could just be on my phone for some reason. I don't know why I feel like that, but like I really do, and I feel like it's drawn too much from the development of Immortal and encapsulated that, and even visually for me, I look at it and I go, it's kind of just.
Do they need to? If they would, is there something with the loot, Cap? Like, do they need to make you feel more rewarded to play the game? That help?
Maybe. Do you know what? I do understand the sentiment of like, is this weapon actually good for me? Because sometimes my brain just can't be fucked doing the algebra to figure out if I'm actually going to get any benefit from this, And sometimes you make a choice because you go, okay, I'm pretty sure this is going to be better, and then you kind of commit to it, and then by the stage that you've committed to it, you probably destroyed the old one. And you think, fuck, this was not a good idea.
And you feel like your power. Yeah. It's right. Like there's like crit strike caps and stuff you want to be on and other bits and pieces has definitely made it a bit.
And who fucking knows what those are? Like, if you're just a casual player, I mean, how the fuck would you know what the soft cap is for the critical strike? You wouldn't know. It's useless. Like, it's so silly. But I don't know. I think Diablo's got some issues, man. And I think one of them for me is just a kind of a pretty boring end game and just not an awful lot of...
That's what it is. You know what? They need to get this end game sorted. They need to get seasonal ladders sorted, Cap, which is like, where you have...
Have they not got that yet?
No, I don't think they've got that yet. And they did say it was going to take a while. I think seasonal ladders will be great for the game. But I also think, mate, they need to leverage off the multiplayer aspect just a little bit more.
Yeah.
They need to get you playing with your mates somehow.
They need raid-like experiences. I really think that would be a lot of fun. And you've got something to work towards.
Press this button and do this. Yeah. And imagine that in Diablo, dude. That'd be sick.
Yes, it would be really fucking cool, man. And they actually had things like that in Immortal. And it's one thing that I feel like they should have brought over from Immortal. Don't bring the fucking monetization bullshit that you take everywhere with you, Blizzard. Get the good features out of your shit games. It's just, it's really, it's frustrating. Very frustrating. But well... Grizz, unfortunately,
though, Cap? I think from everything I read, mate, I'm the only one that has this bad take on it, on the itemization. Most people are like, "Oh, that's great. Yep, looking at the itemization. That's what we've been asking
it's going to be
for."
really simple. That game that I found boring already is going to be even simpler. Yeah. Good idea, idiot. Yeah.
So maybe it's good, mate. Maybe I've got a real bad take on this, and maybe it's going to be
I can see. I
changes.
like your take. I think it makes sense, and it's like it kind of comes more so down to like, okay, maybe there's a immediate like, oh, this is great, but then what's the long term kind of allure of this? Like, it doesn't seem like it's particularly interesting. You know what I mean? So no. Well,
we'll see, mate.
Speaking about interesting, Grizz, Hades 2 hitted Steam. like a freaking truck.
It. Smashed
big
it.
time.
And it's weird, Cap, because it's still in early access, mate. It's not even a full release of the game.
Yeah, it's still it came out of nowhere. I think last podcast we were discussing that they had a technical alpha in the works, and I don't even know if they ended up doing it. Maybe they did, but like pretty much straight after, it felt like the beta had or the early access had hit Steam. Yep. And it's there, and people seem to be really liking it, mate. People are saying it's just the perfect kind of sequel for this game. People are swooning over the new gods and all that kind of shit. So
I want to read this to you. This is from a Steam review, early access review. Optimization is on point. 90 FPS on Steam Deck with the highest settings and 6 hours of battery life. Hello? Yes. ? Been swapping between PC and Steam seamlessly and having a blast. Bugless, no glitches, tons of content. Mechanics are enjoyable. Story setting, characters, pacing is incredible. Everything gets introduced in a seamless way. Dialogue is fast. The lore is very well paced and doesn't interrupt the gameplay. The soundtrack is something else entirely. Combat has improved a lot, way more diverse with magic spells, button pressures, and power combinations. Generally feels way more snappier than Hades 1. That, to me, I loved Hades 1, but this review actually got me pretty excited, mate, especially the Steam Deck comment.
That's the big one for me. Like, Hades, in my opinion, is, it is a console. It's a controller game. Like, you don't play this game on a keyboard. I don't think it feels great. And so for it to sit on my Steam Deck at 90 FPS at, what was it, max graphics, that's out of control.
Yeah, 90 FPS on Steam Deck with the highest settings and 6 hours of battery life.
Yeah, that's very, very exciting.
Sounds pretty optimized, yeah.
Oh, yeah, big time. So I suppose the only thing is, like, neither of us have played it, Grizz, and I think we kind of we had a bit of a chat in the Facebook, our Facebook chat, and, because we kind of discussed it, and you said you were going to play it, and I was like, yeah, okay, no worries, have fun. And then you said, I've actually changed my opinion on that. I want to kind of enjoy the entire thing. And I think that's a real good thing to do, Grizz, on many levels. And the big one is, like, it's going to be finished when you play it in 1.0. Well, finished, in 1.0. And you're going to get the whole experience.
There were some things that put me off. So I actually bought the game and I installed it and I was ready to play it. And I watched someone playing it on Twitch and I noticed that things annoyed me. Like, not all the portraits were finished. There was placeholder for a bunch of the amulets. There's not all the weapons that are there. Some of the voice acting for some of the dialogue wasn't in certain bits, and I just thought, I need to wait. I just want to wait for the full, whilst all the gameplay is there, and you can actually do a hell of a lot. You can play through the whole game. There's no ending yet, so there's no ending cinematic, but you can beat the boss, I believe.
Really? That's fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's, well, obviously they have. Maybe they just haven't included it in.
Maybe there's something after that.
Yeah,
final boss.
Maybe that's like the first part of the game. I don't know, man. Who knows? Yeah. But
it says here the current state of the early access version on Steam. It has more environments, foes, and fully voiced characters than the full version of the original Hades game, but it isn't complete, which is that's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
that's kind of bonkers.
That's a lot, isn't it? As you can see why it's being so well received. People are saying that this is better than many other 1.0s that are coming out from other devs. It's just such a complete game already.
Well, and the other thing I'm kind of getting from this is like, well, I wonder, Grizz, if a lot of that is, they've kind of gone, look, Hades 1, like, it was critically acclaimed. We've got a really good baseline here. Let's just not fuck around. Let's use the engine, use all of our design assets, and just really go hard on, like, we have the baseline. We can just design a completely new experience, really go hard on the controls and the new powers and stuff, kind of all the design factors and stuff. So they haven't had to spend an awful lot of time on the development of the engine. They can just focus on the gameplay and the everything else, the lore and the story.
I love that, Cap.
Yeah,
I think that is so good. From what I've seen, it's more of the same, except it looks like they have just built upon what they had there and made it better in every way. From that review, sounds like there's quite a bit more in the combat. You got spells and other bits and pieces, and I think this is going to be really something to watch. It's already copying amazing reviews, but I don't know, Cap. Is this potential game of the year?
Well, if it comes out before the end of the year, sure, maybe. Though, I mean, it's Belatro though, dude. Don't know.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking hard to beat Belatro.
Belatro's pretty strong, mate.
Pretty freaking good. Well, Grizz, speaking of other games, should we, mate? I got a little question to ask you, mate. I don't know how your gaming's been going.
Oh, it's a hard question, Cap. Look, I actually haven't done a whole heap. I've installed 2 new games, but I haven't played them yet, mate. I've installed them, but I haven't played them. I actually have been spending a lot of my free time, Cap, editing videos for a new YouTube channel. Did I tell you that?
I think I've seen some videos. But tell the class, mate, what's the go?
Okay, look, so we've been getting some pro recordings from our band sessions, and so I've been editing down shorts and drum covers for a dedicated YouTube channel, which has been fucking popping off, Cap, in there. It's been going great, mate. Yeah.
That's sick.
It's been good. Maybe I'll post the link in the Twitch chat. So I've been doing that with my free time, but I have been doing other things, Cap. I have been doing some gaming. So we are progressing our honor mode playthrough of Baldur's Gate. We are out of Act 1 now. We nearly had one rip, like so fucking close, dude.
Who was the savior?
Dude, you know those Githyanki, the Crash, and there's a bunch of them. Yeah. So we had Curdy is playing Lozelle. So we thought that we could just go talk to them, and there's no way they're going to fight us because she's a Githyanki. But like
she runs off.
Well, they had. So I think like they found out that she had the thing in her head, and they just started attacking us.
Yeah,
we didn't even get a turn. Before we even got a turn, me, Curdy, and one of our other followers were just dead. Done.
Yeah,
so they've all got like double attacks and shit.
So that area is fucked.
Yeah,
it's basically don't go there.
Yeah, so
you ambush them, which kind of sucks.
We just thought we'd pass the conversation check. So look, we are progressing. We haven't ripped yet. We've all.
How did you get out of it?
So one of our Belly, the other guy that plays with us, was kind of on the edge of battle, and he was able to run away, and I think he used his bit of potion or something, got out. Yeah, because the idea, if you lose your whole party, it's done. But if you've got one guy there, you can go back to Withers and get everyone back and keep the run alive.
Jesus Christ, man. That's wild.
Yeah. It was
you would have lost a bit of gold for that as well.
Yeah, but dude, you can just pickpocket. Did you know you can just pickpocket it back off him? He doesn't even react, mate. He catches you, but nothing happens. You just do it until you get your gold back off him.
Come that way as well. He's an ancient god. He doesn't need that money.
But you know what, Cap? One thing I have noticed, honor mode, everything is more expensive. Everything. So like, you got to be careful. You can't just go to the vendor and buy whatever you want.
You got to think a bit more.
Yeah, and you also obviously can't save scum anything. You can't like save and pickpocket someone and reload it until you get that.
How does it work? You have a finite amount of saves or something, or
you have no saves, so you cannot
How do you
reload.
Stop?
You cannot reload. Oh, you can stop. You can just save it and stop. But if you can't reload a previous save, it doesn't you just got to play where you're at.
Yeah, right with you. Yeah, that's wild, dude. Well. So you finished the first act then?
First act is pretty much done. Well, actually, not really. We're about to go through the Underdark. So I think that's technically still first act. But we've done the Goblin Encampment. We've done... Oh, dude, it's so crazy how different that game is, man. Yeah. So the first time we did it, we cleared out the Goblin Encampment in the Goblin Encampment. This time we convinced them to attack the Grove. Yeah. And then we defended it from the Grove. And they all rocked up. So
then you smashed them.
We smashed them. So the big battle was at the Grove, which was cool, man. It's so cool. Like
that's
completely
rad.
different little play.
That is rad. Yeah, that'd be good fun to do that. Yeah. Oh, nice, man.
Other things, Cap. I've been playing a bunch of Dota 2 ranked. I've climbed a little bit. I won't go too much into that. But I have continued my Elden Ring playthrough. I just beat Radahn now, Cap. So I'm kind of working my way through. Yeah. Intention is to get up to Moog and then either beat him or just leave it there for their DLC.
I do the exact same thing. I just haven't had the energy.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to pick up. It plays well on Steam Deck, so I'm kind of just, whenever I feel like it, jumping on there and slowly progressing along. But feeling very powerful. Nothing's really been too much of a challenge yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I feel like playing through it once, you learn a few things. Like just stagger the fuck out of your enemy pretty much. Yeah, all that kind
like
of
cheese, a little bit of cheese,
a little bit of cheese,
Parmesan. Yeah. Love it, mate.
That's my gaming, mate. Look, I really wanted to play another Crab's Treasure. That's going to have to wait till the next one. So it is on my list. I'll get into that. Well, what about you, Capo? What about you, mate?
I did play another Crab's Treasure. I beat the first boss.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
How'd you find it?
It's good. I like it. I played it on Xbox Game Pass, so it didn't cost me anything. Will I go back to it? We'll see. I think I just don't know if I have the patience at the moment.
Is it hard?
It's not hard. No, I mean it's a Souls game. Like I haven't gotten past the first. I've got past the first boss, but I haven't gone beyond that. I'm sure it gets much harder. But I one shot of the first boss without much issue.
Smashed it.
And just didn't have much issue running up to the boss before that. So it wasn't terrible, but I do quite like what they're doing. I think it has that feeling of like not a Banjo-Kazooie, but kind of in that kind of same, like an early Sony kind of platformer thing going on with the Dark Souls style combat and stuff. So it's really cool and kind of that Finding Nemo kind of, kind of aesthetic, under the sea kind of aesthetic. Mm-hmm. It's good. I really like what they're doing, and I think it definitely deserves people's attention if they want to just try something a bit new and Soulsborne-y. So can definitely recommend that one. But one game I did play is I bought Animal Well.
Oh, yeah, I actually saw you playing that, mate. We had that's the one that one of our mates told us to check out, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I had it on my radar anyway, and I'd kind of been not really vibing any of the games I've been playing. Like I'm still trying to get through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm really having a hard time trying to finish that one off. It hasn't really hit home for me as much as the first one did. So I kind of was looking for something else over the weekend, and that popped up on special. I thought, yeah, fuck it, let's get that, and it just released. And it is brilliant. It is a little weird, ethereal kind of pixel art Metroidvania game with emphasis on some simple physics puzzles and stuff. You kind of classic kind of stuff like using switches and trying to get things to move to here and there. But yeah, it's just really well put together.
Is the platforming hard, Cap? Is it hard? Like the platforming difficult? Or?
It's not been too bad. There's been a couple of areas where the jump has just been a little bit annoying, but for the most part, it's been pretty serviceable. And there's been some areas that I've been working through in the kind of latter part of the game. I think I'm almost finished, where it's been quite satisfying getting some of the harder kind of platforming puzzles done. So it's really, really good. I think it's really weird as well. I don't know. It's got this weird thing going on. You're like this little blob running around in this like pixel art sort of world in this well, and there's water everywhere, and there's all these animals in there doing weird shit, and they interact with you in different ways. It might be helpful, and they might be kind of not so helpful and hurt you.
It's an animal well, mate.
It's an animal well, but you're kind of running around this kind of very Metroidvania. You got a Metroidvania, like a Metroid kind of map. You open the map up and it's kind of one of those, Metroid style maps.
Blocky kind of, see where you're going.
Yeah, you see where you're going, and you're finding these things that open up other areas. Like, I won't give away too many of the things, but you find like a frisbee and a yo-yo, and they help you do certain things along the way. And just the interactions are really nice. I really like how the puzzles that you're figuring out are very just very satisfying when you figure out what the solution is. And the artwork is just really, really nice. It kind of has a similar feeling to Noita Grizz, sort of, but not quite. Just that kind of pixel physics thing going on, but not quite the same degree.
Do you like it, Cap? Do you like it, the art style?
I do, actually, yeah. No, when you're in it, I think it feels interesting and weird. And another thing about the game, Grizz, there's no music.
Zero?
Nothing. And I only realised that till I got towards the end of the game, and I was like, there's no fucking music in this game.
Have you finished it? Have you finished the game?
I've almost finished, as far as I can tell. There's like 4 major areas you go and do, and I'm pretty much done with that. So I think I'm I mean, I haven't kind of. You're basically going finding these keys out in the distances, and I've got 3 of the 4, and I'm just about to get the 4th one. But yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. If you're looking for a little indie, weird kind of experience that's kind of Metroidvania-ish with some really interesting art, it's definitely worth a pickup. It's probably, I'd say it's probably a little bit expensive for what it is. But
what are they? What's the price tag on it, Capo?
I think it was like 35 AUD, which I was kind of like, I reckon this is probably close to 30.
Hades 2 is pretty cheap right now, eh?
How much is that?
It's like $40 or something.
Damn, boy.
Dude, you can buy Redfall for $120.
I mean, you could buy Animal Well and Hades 2 for less than that.
$43, mate. $43. 3 Hades or 1 Redfall, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, look, Animal Well, really, really cool little game. Definitely worth a check out if you're looking for some little weird indie experience. But yeah, just really like the interactions between the animals that are in this well. And again, it's really weird. Like the animals are like trying to get away from you, and some of them like trying to get at you, and then you have these weird interactions with some of them. There was this one animal that basically it chased me into this hole that I just assumed it couldn't get into, and I was just like, what are you fucking doing in here? And then it just killed me. It killed me. Yeah, it killed me. Yeah. But yeah, there's some really fun little interactions that happen in that game. So definitely a lot of fun. Definitely can highly recommend. So yeah, there you go. That's my gaming, Grizz. So,
how many Captain Perth, Cap? You don't sound like 10 out of 10 Captain Perth. You don't sound
look, it's
that
probably
excited.
4 out of 5. Like it's not the best thing I've ever played in my life, but it's just fun. It's just a fun little kind of platforming Metroidvania thing, and I really appreciate the artwork and what they've done with the interactions with the kind of animals that are in that well. It's just good. It's just really well put together.
Nice,
but it's not a Balatro.
Not Balatro, mate. Yeah.
Not Balatro. All right, Grizz.
Rapid Fire News, brought to you by
DJ Francesco.
It's in the game.
It's in the freaking game.
You got
baby.
me, mate. You
Yeah,
shot me.
so copped you, mate. Watch out.
Yeah.
Grizz, Multiverses reveals that the Joker is coming to their fighting game lineup. So Multiverses just announced that they're coming back in for another round, because I think they kind of wound it down for a little bit. But it actually looks like Mark Hamill is fucking voicing it, because he's got the Mark Hamill Joker VA, which is kind of fucking wild. So I just think it's really rad that they got Mark Hamill doing the animator voice. So very, very cool. But yeah, so there you go.
This is weird, Cap, because this game came out a long time ago. V Rising is out of early access now into version 1.0. What do they say? They've got new zones, they've got new dynamic events, new bosses and enemies, choose your difficulty, world improvements, new and magic weapons. That game was actually quite fun. Cap as a little multiplayer.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, I'm kind of like, ooh, I mean, if it runs okay on Steam Deck, maybe I'll get in there.
Maybe, yeah.
Could be a bit of fun, Grizz. We could, get a little server going, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Server, yeah. We've also got Valheim we got to play as well, mate.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. God, what are we going to play? What do you reckon? All right, we'll put it up to a vote.
We need to play something, Cap. Fuck, we need to play something, mate.
Yeah, I reckon we need to play something where I can lie in bed and just like emote at you whilst I'm having a little lie down.
Yeah, all right, let's do that. Figure something out.
All right, Grizz. Ori and the Blind Forest devs say number 3 isn't happening anytime soon. They're working on No Rest for the Wicked for at least another decade. So,
wait, No Rest for the Wicked. Was it the one that was a little bit more focused on combat, Cap? Is it the one?
Yeah, it's kind of like a top-down. I think it feels kind of Soulsy, kind of almost isometric, I guess, but not quite. But yeah, top-down kind of fighting game. I don't really know what Souls-like action RPG. So I mean, it is Souls-like. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, there you go.
Okay, Cap. In today's earnings call, EA's CEO Andrew Wilson says he has been playing the next Battlefield game with the development team, and it will be a tremendous live service game. So there you go.
I can't wait.
Cap,
I can't wait, Andrew. I bet it's going to be so good. I'm sure. Can't wait to not play that.
Battlefield.
A tremendous waste of time, I reckon, Grizz. That's what I reckon. All right, Grizz, the gaming Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree will be the first and last expansion for that game, confirms director Miyazaki. So this is all we're getting. And I mean, look, we've waited long enough for it, so it's probably going to be a big chonker. So, you know, if it means we get another Elden Ring adjacent game after this, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Cap, apparently Riot released Vanguard, which was a kernel-level anti-cheat software, and players have been claiming that it's bricking their computers. Riot says do some troubleshooting and releases some way to only. Okay, apparently it only affected 0.03% of LoL players, but yeah, I don't know. That's pretty fucked.
So it was bricking computers.
It was, yeah. Yeah, just a small portion of them, mate. You know?
Only 0.3%, guys. Get over it, will you?
Maybe they were cheating, Cap. Maybe they were cheating.
Well, yeah, maybe that was the kernel level anti-cheat, just destroys the kernel. There you go. All right, Grizz. Manor Lords, another EA game with city builder medieval flair, opens its first day with 156 concurrent players on Steam, fourth most played video game. So, yeah, this is a little indie kind of city builder game, medieval kind of style, and yeah, it's kicking ass.
Kicking ass, that's the way. Cap, UK government has responded to a petition that would require video game publishers to keep games they have sold in a working state. What did they say about this, Cap? I haven't read this full thing.
That gamers should discuss supposed law infringements with publishers regarding false advertisement of consumer misleading, meaning they don't give a shit, basically.
No, it's not going to happen, is it?
Not going to happen, sorry. They're going to continue to kill video games. Grizz, Starfield is getting its first DLC, Shattered Space, coming third quarter. Ooh. Slatos is going to shit his pants.
Is he?
Yeah.
Do we know anything about this, Cap? What's happening with it? Shattered Space.
Well, I guess that's where the shattered comes from, is the pants that Slatos will be shitting in.
Right.
The shattered space pants. Anyways, no. Yeah. Look, I don't know what's going on.
There's a small update later this week, Cap, apparently. Something happened at the end of this week too. There you go.
Yeah, probably. Look, I don't really know. I don't know what's going on there. I think there's... it
has... So the one that's coming later in the week is changing some of the building mechanics in the ship.
Yeah, they're also fixing the map because the map was utter garbo. So they're doing some touch-ups to the map, but I don't think they've got an awful lot of information about it. I think it's probably just going to be more of the same thing, just in space. So there you go.
Very cool, very cool.
I think it's your one, mate. Or is it mine?
I don't have any more in the red run sheet unless there's more. You added some. Fuck, I missed them. Cyberpunk's last 30 days of Steam reviews is 95% positive, lifetime score 83%. What a redemption story, Cap.
Big time. This is like No Man's Sky level shit, isn't it? And well deserved, I think. Grizz, I'm just going to go back up one. Marvel Rival Stream Keys. So Marvel Rivals, I think that's the... Is that the card game? I think it is. So they're giving away streamer keys for free just to get them in and play it. Anyways, they asked them to sign a contract that noted in the contract that the streamer would not disparage the game in any way.
Dude, they can't say it's shit.
That's fucked up, isn't it?
That is
so
no
fucked.
Good, man.
Yeah, there you go.
No good. Cap, EA promises to be very thoughtful as it moves towards adding in-game ads to their games.
Yeah, very thoughtful indeed.
Surely on billboards and stuff, right? That's what
I think it is. I think it is just mostly billboard stuff, which has been done in the past. Like older games used to do it.
If I'm playing a game and I see a Coke on a sign, I'll be like, "Fuck yeah!"
It's kind of immersion, right? Like that's real life shit. So
it is.
I don't know. I'm kind
just
of
not in
my
Elden Ring, please, Cap. All right.
Yeah, I think the thing will be like if they directly connect it to like I don't know, like your search history online or some shit, and they're like,
Could you imagine you're like in a boss fight and he's like, just fucking starts talking to you to go buy this,
buy Big Mac,
buy a Big Mac, Radagon.
Yeah, buy a Big Mac for a buff against me. I don't know. Fucking hell. That'd be wild, wouldn't it? We're probably getting pretty close to that shit. I don't know. Side quest to buy a Coke before boss fight. Man, I'm into it. You know, I reckon that level of multi-marketing would be quite hilarious, and I probably would be taking it and then, you know, the year after get really annoyed how everyone's doing it. But still, it would be a novelty to begin with.
It would.
Yeah. Anyways, Grizz, that's the show, baby.
That's it, mate.
Well played, sir.
Did it. On time.
Big thanks to everyone listening in the Twitch chat live. Appreciate you guys immensely. Airy J, Debiru Man TV, Kamikaze Cracker, Slatos, Darty. Guys, you guys rock. Appreciate you being in here. Again, thank you to all our wonderful listeners listening to this podcast in their own time, in their own fucking car, you know, whilst they're mowing the lawns. You guys rock. Drop us a cheeky little review. Would appreciate it immensely. Otherwise, you can go to OGR.show and you can find your favourite podcasting platform through there. Other than that, another big thank you to our Patreons. If you want to support the show, you can do so by going to patreon.com/OGRshow. Otherwise, if you want to find our Discord, you want to find our Twitter, you want to find anything else, it can all be found at OGR.show as well. So go and check those out. Keep an eye out for little clips and shit during the week. We'll probably have some little bites. But yeah, look, that's everything. Appreciate you guys.
Sweet Capo.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Ripper, mate. Love your work. All right. Take it easy. See you in a fortnight, guys. Peace frickin' out. Nice. Cool bananas. Well,
Nice
legends.
one.
That was great. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Kazi. You bloody legend. Good to see you, Deb. I was actually thinking about you the other day. I was like,
I haven't seen old Deb for
haven't
ages.
seen Deb in a while. Good to see you, mate.
Erich, if you haven't read chat, mate, add me on Steam. I put my Steam friend ID there.
But no one
Add
else,
me.
just Airy J, all right?
Yep. No, you know, anyone can fucking add me. I just want Erich to carry me in some Dota, please.
Oh, is Airy a fucking Dota
He
fanatic?
is. He's a fucking gamer, dude. He's like, I don't
Oh,
know.
fuck
He's up
yeah.
there.
Sick. Wish I was still playing Dota.
Yeah, come play, Cat. Do it.
Yeah. I'll try and stay up past 8:30.
You got to go fishing with Tide Hunter, mate. That's
Yeah, I
what you
do,
gotta
actually. That'd be good fun.
Pete hasn't unlocked it yet, dude. He's like so excited to unlock it too.
Oh, really? What do you have to do? How many turbos is it?
Oh, you got to win. You got to get through a bunch of this cavern. You got to get through the caravan crawl, mate, to get there. Pretty much is what it is.
God, dude, I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't have enough time. All right, legends. Look, we're going to be dropping the call now, but appreciate you guys heaps. We'll see you guys in a fortnight. Add us on fucking Steam and shit. But been super busy. Yeah, all good, Deb. I fucking know the feeling, baby. I mean, so does Grizz.
Yeah,
it's hard. Life's hard.
Life, mate. Life's tough.
Big time. All right, legends. Peace out.
See
We'll
you
see you
guys.
soon. Love
Bye.
you. Bye.